From the nation's capital to you on News Central TV, this is the 6th edition. I am Neota Igbe, and here are the top stories today. PDP councillorship candidate rejects city centre results. 10 killed in fresh coordinated attacks on Plateau communities. 25 National Guard troops dead in post-raid ambushes in Mexico. We'll bring you details in a moment. We'll begin with security matters. Armed bandits launched coordinated attacks on Jal community and Dorowa Babuje in Riam local government area, Plateau State on Sunday night, killing at least 10 persons between 8 and 9 p.m. National President of the Biram Youth Molders Association, Salman Daliab, disclosed this, revealing that 9 people were killed in Dorowa Babuje, while 1 person lost his life in Jal during the separate but near simultaneous attacks. According to Daliab, the assailants who attacked Jal arrived on motorcycles on the Manga axis, despite early warnings issued to security agencies about the possible movements in the area. In the meantime, a massive manhunt is underway in Ondo State for the killers of the Alagamo of Agamo, Kende Falodun, who was murdered by suspected bandits during an attack on his palace in Akure North local government area of Ondo State. Security operatives have intensified their efforts to track down the assailants following the February 18 attack that has left the community in mourning. News Central's Emmanuel Olubobokun reports.
Police authorities say they responded swiftly to distress calls, deploying tactical teams to the area. Officers from the state command moved into the palace and adjoining communities to secure the scene and commence investigations. Local security outfits, including Atulishe Security, hunters, and Amotekun operatives, have joined the manhunt, combing nearby bushes and forest areas in search of the attackers.
Military, civil defense, and DSS, we went to the community for the spot assessment. Getting there, we were shown the bush track that the hoodlums followed, where they shot at the monarch before they eventually dragged him somewhere and clubbed him to death. The younger brother to the monarch, to the deceased, and community members of the community, they don't have this information that we are going to work on. We appreciate them for giving that information. In our efforts to get the perpetrators of that heinous crime arrested. The good people of Ondo State, they've tested, trusted, and accepted us. They know anytime we swing in action like that, we waste no time in getting the perpetrators arrested. The record is there for them, so they have that confidence in us. And I want to assure them that in no time we get them arrested. All we're asking them is to give us actionable and credible information that will assist us in the investigation.
Residents described the late monarch as a peaceful and widely respected traditional ruler, whose reign was defined by unity, stability, and community development. They also described how the monarch was killed.
It happened last night, and some young guys with full ammunition came in to the KBC Palace. They met him in his office around 7:30 p.m. and they didn't ask anything from him. They started shooting continuously, like 15 minutes without stopping. And they realized that the bullet is not penetrating. They have to bring out the machete and started cutting the cabins, and it's not enter. They went ahead and dragged him and used the gun, hit him in the stomach. That's how the cabins fall down. And they dragged him and they took him to that place and used stick and just hit his head. That's how the cabins died.
Authorities say efforts are ongoing to apprehend the fleeing suspects. Security presence has also been strengthened across Akure North to prevent further attacks and reassure residents. In Ondo, for News Central, Emmanuel Olubobokun.
Not a good story to tell, but as we said, the manhunt is on, and hopefully the perpetrators of such a dastardly act would be arrested soon. But let's go on and talk about the FCT area council elections that happened on Saturday. Reactions have been pouring in about that election. This latest one's coming from the People's Democratic Party's councillorship candidate for City Centre Ward, Lovett Ifeko, who, addressing a press conference in Abuja, Izeko congratulated the re-elected AMAC chairman Christopher Mekalangu, but insisted that the councillorship poll was marred by widespread irregularities and figure manipulation at the coalition centers. She claimed that while her team won convincingly at the polling unit, the results were altered to favor the winner and All Progressives Congress candidate, highlighting specific instances of electoral fraud. She lamented the failure of the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure real-time transmission of results, which she argued created a vacuum exploited by imposters, and announced that her legal team has been briefed to challenge the outcome at the Election Petition Tribunal so she can reclaim her mandate. Izeko called for urgent electoral reforms to protect the ballots of the youth and women who defied voter apathy to exercise their rights.
I, Uwamu Omorige Reginald, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2026 FCT Area Council elections, City Center Councillorship, held on the 21st day of February 2026. That Yusuf Umo Kaltum Olajumoke of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and returned elected. Dated 21st February 2026. Thank you.
We disagree with this figure. Let's check it. We disagree with this figure. Media. We disagree. Councillorship election was brought out for us to check and cross-check it very well. Councillorship, they brought it out. The chairman, they brought out the list. We cross-check it and it went well. But when you get to councillor, they total everything, seal it up, drop it there, and came back and got the result for us without us not checking it. Why?
Well, I'm being joined in the studio this evening by Lovett Izeko, PDP councillorship candidate for the city centre. Thank you for joining us, Lovett.
Thank you so much for having me.
And congratulations for the elections.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So, you're not agreeing, you're not accepting the results?
Not at all.
But you did congratulate the re-elected chairman.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Why?
Because he has done so well in his first tenure, and he's a man of the people, and he's highly loved by the people. He carries everybody along, irrespective of your tribe or whatsoever. And I think he won fairly.
Okay. But then you're not agreeing with the result of your own
councillorship? No, of course not, because I firsthand witnessed the manipulation right there at the polling unit 024, which was later cancelled. We had a clash with some group of men. I don't know where they came from, where we were challenging the INEC officials on how they were carrying out the election there. They had about 700 votes. With pen, not that the people were present. They had 700, even more than 700, because we later got to find that there were just 20 persons for that particular polling unit.
Okay.
Even after extracting the full 700, they still gave the APC councillorship candidates 41 votes, and they gave PDP 10 votes and 2 to ADC. But after they were forced to assess the beavers, we got to find that there's just 20 people who were accredited in that particular polling unit. So probably they must have printed as well to have more ballots papers. And this transpired in one or two other places, because I witnessed 2 polling units in that regard. And
in the
right
city
there,
center.
Yes, and right there at the collation center, we noticed the beavers. The beavers was being moved up and down, and we didn't really understood what was going on. We're confused ourselves. So, I've never seen that before.
So please, just let's clarify something here. You were there. The beavers showed 20 people were accredited.
Yes.
But the votes.
The ballots were the total ballot was 63.
The total ballot cast. 63.
While on the paper was 741 for APC councillorship.
That's from ECA 8.
Yes.
How do you think this happened?
I guess it's manipulation. I guess it's
I know it's manipulation. I'm just wondering how. How is it possible
I
that
don't even know how they got the courage
how
to
the
do
beavers would have accredited 20, the ballots cast 63, but on from EC8A is 700.
Yes.
How does that work?
I honestly, I've never seen this before. I don't, because what's is really paining everybody is that this is councillorship. This is the grassroots. If the grassroots have decided on who to represent them, why will you force somebody to them, force somebody on them? This is about who they will have direct access to. It's about who will represent them. This is about the people, because this is at the grassroots level, and you are manipulating results at the grassroots level. What now happens to it's quite unfair, to be honest. It's not really. I fear for this country, to be honest.
So what are you going to do now? What's your plan? Your next line of action?
Our legal team are looking into the process and all that. They are going through a lot of things, and afterward we'll be advised by our leaders and the legal team on how to go forward with this.
Just to ask, you have copies of these things you've mentioned now?
Funny enough, we only have copies of our polling unit papers. Funny enough, we're not giving our return officer did not sign at the collation center. They didn't even give them access to the results that they collected. They didn't even give them access to verify what was imputed and all that.
So I know that we are allowed to take a picture of the accreditation of
they
the
were
beavers.
not-
You are not allowed to. So the 20 people accredited, you don't have a picture of that.
Inside, no, I know I'm not allowed to be in the collection center, so
Okay.
I was asked to, because I was the one who.
So your agents did not have a
Yes,
picture
I
of that.
don't know if they took, because the agent, the INEC officer, disappeared for hours. We were there till about 9 or 10 or so before the INEC officer came, because the particular collation desk, when they came, they said they suspected. I was watching. I didn't make any formal complaint. Because right there in the OVA, we had over 15 cars who came from nowhere to escort the vehicle out, to smuggle the vehicle out. It was quite a clash for about an hour. Then when I got to the collation center, I didn't make any complaint. I was just observing to see if they would notice. But luckily, fortunately, the person at that particular collation desk noticed that error and questioned the guy. Then the guy disappeared for hours before I laid my complaint. Then we were waiting for him. Everything got intense later in the night when we saw vehicles that we don't know, people we're not familiar with. And the same guys who were at the OVA, who we had issue with, came to the collation center. They are not even from city center. We don't know them. Irrespective of the parties, we know ourselves. We know ourselves. Funny enough, if I provide those pictures of those people, you might recognize who they work for, but I'm not going to call any names since I'm on here. So they came to our collation center and they were given access and all that. Then that's the particular person asked for me to step out and all that. Then I gave the paper to my agents. Then I stepped out. So we don't really know what's happened. But what they were complaining, and even one of the agents was interviewed, that they were not even given access to where they were collating the results and all that. I honestly, I don't know. Our return officer didn't even sign the councillorship results sheet. He didn't even sign. The thing is that the people are being pained because this is grassroots. They are being pained. The older people are crying. It's everywhere is so there's so much sadness in the air, and the older people are crying. It's not just about me now. It's about the people. It's about the people who have decided that I should go and represent them.
All right, Lovett, we want to thank you so much for coming in. Lovett is the
much.
PDP councillorship candidate for City Centre in the recently concluded FCT area council elections. Thank you for coming. We wish you well as you go to the tribunal.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
really grateful.
We'll take a moment, and when we return, we'll be looking at other stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now here's a recap of our top stories. PDP councillorship candidate rejects city council results. 10 killed in fresh coordinated attacks on Plateau communities. 25 National Guard troops dead in post-raid ambushes in Mexico. Staying with the FCT Area Council election reactions, the Obedient movement has faulted the conduct of the just concluded elections, alleging irregularities and institutional compromise. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the group claimed there was low voter turnout and accused the electoral body of changing some polling units on election day, thereby creating confusion. The group also alleged that the FCT minister restricted movement of voters, describing the situation as intentional disenfranchisement.
We have experienced low turnout. It has been a recurring decimal that during the area council election we have a low turnout. We really want to know, I think this is a question we need to ask, why is it that at the 11th hour we have a situation where INEC will be changing the goalposts? People who knew where that their polling unit used to be, on the day of the election, there was no information. If there was going to be something like, we expect that 2 weeks before the election, you make a publication that this and this and this has been changed, so that people will go and know their new voting unit. But it's surprising that on the day of the election, that's where you see a new polling unit. You go to your previous polling unit, find out it's no longer there.
He gave actually directive that nobody should move. While he gave directive, the intention now is clear that he was trying to make sure that people do not come out to protect their vote while he went to go and conspire and do what he has to do as against the will of the people. Furthermore, the Nigerian people will continue to challenge the states, continue to challenge the establishment, and ensure that our mandate is being given to the Nigerian people.
Let me just reiterate once again that 2027 will definitely not be like 2026, what we've seen in Abuja today. The Nigerians are ready. Our Obedient movement itself is also ready to ensure that every of our mandate, every vote is safeguarded.
Well, the 2026 FCT Area Council elections have been concluded, and the APC asserted significant dominance across the capital. In a decisive showing, the ruling party secured 5 chairmanship seats. The PDP maintained its stronghold in Gwagwalada. Now, Christopher Mekalangu secured AMAC for the APC with 40,295 votes, overcoming a distant challenge from the ADC. The PDP claimed victory in Gwagwalada as Mohammed Kasim's 22,165 votes outpaced the APC in a competitive race. Joshua Ishaku won Buhari for the APC 18,000 votes, defeating candidates from the ADC and ZLP. In Kwali, Daniel Nuhu delivered again for the APC with 17,032 votes, nearly doubling the PDP's total count. Umar Abubakar dominated Abaji with 15,535 votes to beat rivals in YPP and PDP. And Danjuma Shekwolo won Kuje with 17,269 votes, narrowly edging out the PDP in a tight contest. Well, we told you earlier that the Obedient movement was disagreeing with this election result, and joining us in the studio is Daniel Dumije, FCT coordinator of the Obedient movement. Thank you for joining us, Daniel.
Thank you so much for having me.
So why is the Obedient movement concerned about this election? I mean, this is a small election, and some will say that you didn't really stand a chance. That's what some are saying.
I think one, I will start by saying that the FCT area council election is not a small election. We have the AMAC, and you all know what AMAC represents. Abuja Municipal Area Council, otherwise called AMAC, represent the seat of power. You agree with me that virtually all the government functionary resides in AMAC. So saying this, how can you adjudge the area council election, FCT, as a small election? It's not a small election. And that's it. Secondly, the Obedients are not pleased with what transpired. That's why we choose to disagree. Because we're all on ground, we're in the field, we went around, we saw everything that happened, that transpired. From the beginning, of course, the INEC officials, they were there on time. They were there early. We went round, and everything appeared to be smooth from the beginning. And when these results are coming in, we could see clearly that the ADC, with the Obedients are supporting, is actually doing very well across the polling units. But all of a sudden, certain things began to change. So you begin to wonder what's happening. Reports from places, all manner of violence and all that. So
Violence?
yeah, violence. Yes. A lot of it. We have evidences of all these things. Okay, so how do you expect us to agree with what transpired? On a normal note, in a sane, atmosphere of election conduct, I don't think APC would have won the AMAC election.
So I asked you about the violence, and I'm shocked to talk about violence because we had reporters in practically all the polling, unless you're saying the violence took place outside of the polling unit. And the people we spoke to at the voters all said everything's peaceful here.
That's not true. Well, in some area, yes. The voting appeared to be peaceful, but in other areas, no. I think, I don't know, we had a case of persons being killed. Yes.
In these elections?
Yes, at Gwagwa. The Gwagwa was a case of somebody who must have been killed because he tried to protect the vote. They killed him. In fact, the ADC chairmanship candidate, Dr. Moses Paul, was there. So how do you judge such election as being violent-free? Go to places like Guarimpa, we saw cases, there are videos where the armed forces, the security agents who are supposed to protect us, went in to snatch ballot boxes. The videos are there. We are not just talking, the evidences are there. You see even the security personnel that are being deployed to the polling units shouting. They are being tear gassed. You tear gas your own personnel because you want to do the wrong thing. Tear gas them, they were shouting, everybody was running. Security personnel, I can see policemen shouting. I mean, what is happening? They were shocked. They've not seen a thing like that before. How can they, policemen, even be tear gassed? Because another group of people came in, police uniform, police vehicle. Where is it coming from? On the day of election that we were told that we can see all over. Strong, heavy security personnel were deployed all over the places. So where are those coming from? No, tell me. So there is something fishy out there, and that is the magic of the ruling party.
So what's the plan? Are you going to the tribunal?
Well, I think I will leave that to the candidate. He should decide the next plan. But generally, what transpired in most areas is nothing short of electoral malpractice. I must tell you that.
And seeing that this election was executed using the 2022 Electoral Act, the punishment for
Electoral Act,
the punishment for that would be something minimal. So, what do you think should be done now?
Well, like I said.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think of the 2026 Electoral Act? Do you think with that Electoral Act things will be different if this kind of election is conducted under the 2026 Electoral Act?
I think the problem has not always been with the Electoral Act.
Where has the problem been?
The problem is with the system. Yes.
And the system is guided by a law.
A law that is not working. If the law is working, I don't think even when you discover anomaly in any of the polling units, the law should be able to do something about it. But here, they tell you, go to court. In other words, go to the law. By the time you go to court, you have cases, you have evidence. What's happened? They sweep all this under the carpet, make it appear as if it is immaterial. So, how do you say the law is working? In such, in such community, you can't say the law is working. And the person that is asking you to go to court is as good as the person that's going to handle your case when you get to court. Where is the law? There is no law.
So, Daniel, you're saying there is no hope. What's the way forward then? How do we resolve this matter?
Nigerians will not give up. All these election malpractices, irregularity, rigging, and all that did not start today. it has been existing for a long time. In fact, ever since Nigeria regained democracy, these things have been happening. We've profiled solution, but it appears as if it's not working. But we somewhat believe, that's why we are not giving up, that one day all this will change. We have advanced countries, go and read their history, you see how they started, and today they're enjoying stability because they didn't give up. So we Nigerians will not give up. We will continue. 2027 is going to be, something different. I believe it's going to be something different. Because now we are studying. The case of Amak is another case study. So we are studying what they are doing. By the time you understand how a thief goes about stealing, you also learn how to prepare yourself to make sure that the thief does not continue stealing. So we are watching, and we are also coming up with strategies to make sure that these things stop, because we want a good society for our people.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Daniel Dumije is the FCT coordinator of the Obedient Movement. Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you so much.
The former governor, away from the FCT elections, former Governor Nasir El-Rufai has filed a $1 billion suit against the ICPC, challenging an unlawful search of his Abuja home. He claims the February 19 operation violated his privacy. The suit filed at the Federal High Court labels the search warrant invalid due to drafting errors and lack of probable cause. El-Rufai is seeking the return of seized items as well. Seeking damages for psychological trauma and reputational harm, the former governor also wants the court to bar any evidence collected during the raid from being used in future proceedings. We'll take a quick break and we'll look at, when we return, we'll be going back to that security matter to look at what transpired in Riyom local government area on Sunday evening. Details in a moment. Welcome back. When we started a 6th edition today, we talked about the situation, what happened in Jos, the Plateau State capital, or Riyom local government area in Plateau State, where at least 10 people were killed via coordinated attacks on 2 communities on the plateau. We also told you about a situation of a manhunt ongoing in Ondo State for the killers of the Alagamo of Agamo, Kehinde Falodun. The manhunt is on. But then before we bring in our guest who's joining us from the US, there is another situation in Plateau that resulted in the death of some other people. The collapse of a mining rig, where a mine collapsed, leading to the death of a number of people, and the government saying that that rig had been shut down for a while, but suddenly it's been opened up illegally. But let's welcome Dr. Prince Sajere, a security expert and consultant who joined us from the US. Thank you for joining us, Prince.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the good work you're doing. It's a delight to be your midst today. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll just get straight into it, talking about this matter of the security, especially on the plateau. The latest one here is the number of people were killed on Sunday evening between 8 and 10 p.m. in Riyom local government area of Plateau. At least 10 persons were killed. But then we also see that a monarch was also killed in Ondo State sometime last week as well. There's a manhunt ongoing. The security situation seems to be having is it that it has a Hydra head in the country?
Yeah, to me, I feel so sad to always discuss this issue as regard the insecurity in our fatherland, especially Plateau State Jos. Last year, my group, PhD students on security and strategic study from Nsuk, we had a study tour in Plateau State. Plateau State has been a peculiar state as regard to insecurity. It's so sad, especially breaking Laden, and a lot of killings has been done. To me, rising from civil unrest to terrorism to insurgents, armed robbery, killing, kidnapping, organized crime. This insecurity must stop. This insecurity must stop in Nigeria. Everyone's life matters. And that is the truth. Everyone's life matters. We must all come together to make sure insecurity of lives and property must stop. And that is just the message we should be able to give to the government today in the country. we should focus on the main thing and try and do it right. It's so sad for every now and then I come online or I come on here to share this. I feel like crying for my country. I
But,
feel like crying
but
for my
seeing
country. Everyone life matters. Everyone life matters. Yeah.
you're a doctorate student, security and strategic studies, but what are the solutions you think can be preferred to end this? Just before you answer that, look at this. 35 miners were killed in Wase Mine's disaster. Now, the National Orientation Agency is now saying that that mine had been shut down, and suddenly it's opened up again illegally. And some will say the people operating it are illegal. So it's just about the money. It's about the resources, not necessarily about safety or anything there. So what solutions do you think can be preferred to turn things around in the Nigeria security situation?
To me, I would just focus more mainly on the government because 80% of the workload on insecurity can be handled by government. It's a general saying that when insecurity lasted for more than 48 hours in a particular region, government is involved. If government want to make it to stop today, it will be stopped. So solutions are very easy. Very easy. The government know what to do. In terms of policy reformation, one, they must be able to deploy policies that will help both parties. Because these are just some of those insecurity are just retrieval attack, trying to pay back between farmers, between the cattle rearers. So this thing, see, it is easy. Like what I said in policy reform, that is one. They're facilitating things to make community come out to be part and parcel of government plans. If those things can be done, it's easy. Dialogue. Do you understand? Reform, one, dialogue to bringing an enabling environment for the people to. This insecurity has been politicized for long. And that is the truth. During our study, we realized that a lot of stuff being put online is false. People want to take charge of a particular region, they will cause insecurity. And that is why we always blame it at the government. We should focus more on securing life and property. Forget about every single thing we are doing, building roads, doing this. If these things are not done, if insecurity is in a place, it will affect the economy, it will affect everything. So the government must be able to understand that what the masses need is just so little. Just so little. Forget about what is going on today politically. A policy reform, there have been a white paper as regards this. Dialogue. Do you understand? And also in terms of those people that is fighting on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis, between the Christians, farmers, and the Fulani herdsmen. Because these are retrieval attacks that is going on every single day. Is it the one that happened in those things that we don't want to go into? Every one of these insecurity has a political undertone to it. Prior as well, I think towards 2027, some people want to take laws into their hands to cause this. Why? Because they want to overtake. Just like what I was just listening to your presentation. Imagine a week to the AMAC election, you just release some funny, to me, I call it funny, some funny information that there must not be movement, there must not be this. No, those information ought to have been there before now. So most of the insecurity, to me, I will tell you the truth today, without being scared of the government, it is being done, perpetrated by the government. Because all these are proliferation of arms. We should be able to retrieve those arms. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
The government in the state have been able to call both the non-state actors together. And they've released information on their own report. What is the solution? The non-state actor must be able to pay for most of the things that is being done today in Plateau State. Call them together. Involve them.
All right.
And that's the truth.
All right.
The biking riding fight is not a one-day old fight. It has been there for ages. But there has been political undertone. Policy reform, very necessary.
All right, thank you.
Very necessary, my brother.
Thank you.
Dialogue. Nigerians are easy to convince when it comes to accepting what they want to accept. We are brothers. Either Christians or Muslims, we're brothers. Do you understand? We've traversed from one part of the country to another. We should be able to come together.
Indeed.
The government must pay for every wrong that is done to a citizen by bringing those people to book.
All right.
We should not just put it under the carpet and just allow it to slide. Everyone that has made someone's life miserable should be brought to book.
Must be made to pay for whatever crimes they've committed. Thank you so
we
much.
Know them.
Thank you.
We know them in our community.
Thank you. Prince Sajere is a security consultant. Thank you for coming in this evening, and thank you.
Thank you so
much. We know that you have a very, very tight schedule, but thank you for squeezing in a few minutes with us.
God bless you. Thank you.
Now, the National Orientation Agency, I mentioned it earlier, is mourning over 35 miners killed in a Wase mine disaster in Plateau State. It's warning that the unauthorized mining gives rise to devastating consequences, including the kind of explosions and infernos that had claimed lives in the tragic incident. NOA Director General Malam Lanre Isao Nilu labeled the loss at Kampani Zura completely unacceptable, citing unauthorized operations and standard safety as primary causes, substandard safety. The agency is now demanding strict enforcement of mining regulations and routine site inspections nationwide to prevent future explosions. Extending condolences to grieving families, the DG urged Nigerians to reject reckless mining practices that lead to such avoidable national trauma. Retirees of the Central Bank of Nigeria are calling on President Bola Tinubu to intervene over what they describe as persistent pension mismanagement, including unpaid arrears and unresolved discrepancies affecting former staff. The appeal follows official statements and court rulings directing the bank to implement long outstanding pension adjustment. The retirees say notional promotions and pension recalculations tied to early exit schemes in 2002 and 2004 were delayed. They argue that the backdated payments only began in 2015 rather than from their respective exit dates. Authorities have acknowledged the concerns and the steps are being taken to comply with legal directives. A massive fire erupted on Monday afternoon at the Terminal 1 of Murtala Mohammed International Airport. The blaze, which started about 3:30 p.m., significantly impacted the old terminal, currently undergoing reconstruction. FAN and LASEMA emergency crews are working to contain the inferno while the cause remains unknown. Authorities confirmed that no lives have been lost in the ongoing incident. They say the airspace is currently closed, halting all arrivals and departures. Airport workers and passengers are being evacuated as the firefighting team struggle to bring the raging fire under control. We'll take another break. When we return, South Africa will be unfocused. Robert Mugabe's sons charged with attempted murder. Details in a moment. Son of former Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe, Bellarmine Mugabe, and his co-accused Tobias Mugabe Matongozode have been formally charged with attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, and possession of firearm in South Africa. The two made a brief appearance at the Alexandria Magistrate Court in Johannesburg. The matter has been postponed to March the 3rd for bail application. Our News Central's correspondent, Bongani Siziba, was at the court and filed this report.
This is no ordinary trial, and the Alexandra Court will be the battleground. State prosecutors and defense lawyers will go head-to-head in what promises to be a fierce, contested courtroom showdown. The case involves high-profile figure, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The justice system is once again under scrutiny as it faces its latest challenge. Let's break it down. The mystery gun is still missing, and the gardener, who is the victim, lies in the hospital bed critical. This raises more questions, complicating the investigations. However, the police are not taking any of that. These are the charges.
Initially, they were charged with attempted murder, but now we can confirm that a second charge of defeating the ends of justice has been added, since the weapon that was used during the commission of crime has not been found as yet.
As the courtroom drama is just beginning, away from the courtroom, the world is watching with bated breath. Lawyers, critics, and analysts are weighing in, offering theories and predictions on how this case should unfold. The debate is fierce, and opinions are divided.
It seems that they still need to approach the Department of Home Affairs and other agencies in order to verify a number of things incidental to the statuses of the accused. Of course, we can't really go too deep into that because we don't know the nature, say for what was stated in court, what the nature of those inquiries are. So yeah, I think we're just allowing them to, at this stage, continue with their investigations.
This case is just proving to be more than a legal battle. It's a test of the justice system integrity, a reflection of political and social tensions, and a story that continues to unfold beyond the courtroom walls. At the Alexandra Major Street Court in Johannesburg, for News Central, Bongani Siziba.
South Kivu Governor Jean-Jacques Purusi says the Kavimvira border crossing between DR Congo and Burundi has been reopened. The post had been closed for 2 months following an offensive by the Rwanda-backed M23 armed group. Experts say the closure aimed to disrupt military support and trade. However, M23 forces recently withdrew from the Uvira region after diplomatic pressure from the United States to de-escalate the conflict. Authorities report a steady flow of Congolese citizens returning home. While this vital economic route is now active, other regional body posts remain closed due to ongoing security concerns. Retaliatory violence has erupted across Mexico following the killing of Jalisco New Generation Cartel leader Nemesio Mencho Oseguera. Military forces fatally wounded the kingpin during a raid in Tapalpa on Sunday. The U.S. State Department and Canadian officials have issued urgent shelter-in-place orders for several states. Ongoing shootouts, explosions, and criminal roadblocks continue to threaten safety in major urban centers. Widespread unrest has paralyzed regional travel, forcing airlines to cancel dozens of international and domestic flights. Major carriers are monitoring the situation as security forces struggle to restore order. President Vladimir Putin says strengthening Russia's nuclear forces remains an absolute priority, coming weeks after the expiration of the last remaining nuclear arms control treaty with the United States. In remarks released on Russia's Defender of the Fatherland Day, observed annually on February the 23rd, Putin stressed the importance of maintaining and modernizing the country's nuclear arsenal as a key pillar of national security. The holiday is traditionally marked by military displays and patriotic events that highlight the strength of Russia's armed forces.
Безусловным приоритетом остается развитие ядерной триады, которая служит гарантией безопасности России, позволяет эффективно обеспечивать стратегическое сдерживание и баланс сил в мире. Будем качественно наращивать потенциал всех других родов и видов вооруженных сил, повышать их боеготовность, мобильность, способность действовать в любых самых сложных условиях. И, конечно, будем наращивать темпы разработки перспективных систем для вооруженных сил. Мы продолжим масштабную работу по укреплению армии и флота с учетом развития международной ситуации. На основе боевого опыта, полученного в ходе специальной военной операции, с опорой на мощные силы нашей промышленности, науки, индустриальных и высокотехнологичных.
Protesters have gathered outside the International Criminal Court in The Hague as judges open a hearing to decide whether former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte should face trial for alleged crimes against humanity. Demonstrators called for accountability over Duterte's deadly anti-drug crackdown. The ICC's confirmation of charges hearing will determine whether there is sufficient evidence to proceed to a full trial. Prosecutors allege that Duterte was linked to dozens of killings, while rights groups estimate the death toll could reach thousands. The judges are expected to deliver a ruling in the coming weeks.
The changes that we want to see in the Philippines.
Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, is asking the federal government of Nigeria to divest 51% stake in the country's refineries to credible private investors, arguing that majority private ownership would drive efficiency and end years of underperformance. Speaking during an interview, Pengasan's president Festus Osifo said government should retain a minority share while allowing experienced operators with refining expertise to manage the facilities. He noted that political interference and weak management structures have hindered productivity. The call comes amid renewed scrutiny of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and ongoing efforts to reform Nigeria's downstream oil sector. And the World Bank plans to provide Mozambique with about $6 billion in mostly concessional financing over the next 5 years to support public investment and the country's development strategy. That's according to a senior bank official. The Fili Sissoko, division director for Mozambique at the World Bank, told reporters that the bank currently has roughly $3 billion available and aims to mobilize another $3 billion with the financing designed to be low cost and long term to help spur growth. The funding push comes as Mozambique confronts economic challenges, including worsening debt dynamics and fiscal pressures highlighted by the International Monetary Fund, as well as climate-related risks like cyclones and floods that have strained government resources. And Uganda plans to connect its new standard gauge railway line to Tanzania's rail network, aiming to open an alternate export route through the port of Dar es Salaam. Government documents as seen by Reuters show the project would run from Uganda's southern border with Tanzania towards Mpondwe on the frontier with the Democratic Republic of Congo, potentially boosting the exports of minerals such as gold, copper, and iron ore, and reducing transit costs and time. Uganda currently relies mainly on the port of Mombasa in Kenya for exports and has already been pursuing connections with Kenya's railway. The new Tanzania link would diversify export corridors and deepen regional integration. The African Development Bank is considering financing the preparation activities for the line, pending feasibility and bankable assessment. Officials from Uganda's Works and Transport Ministry were not immediately available for comments. And that's it on the 6th edition for today. Just before we go, let's look at the headlines again. We told you that the PDP and its councillorship candidate have rejected the city centre results. 10 killed in fresh coordinated attacks on Plateau communities. 25 National Guard troops dead in post-raid ambushes in Mexico. We'd like to hear from you. Do send your comments or eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number showing on your screen, +2347055001212. We'll encourage you to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV on all the social media platforms, where you can also watch us live. Plus, you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Neota Egbe.